Okay, more questions.
As much as I deeply appreciate the combination between this material wealth aspect and the creation of consciousness, and hearing all the giggling about the Maseratis everywhere in the world, I still have a question. As our mundane world we're living on is finite, what would be your direction if somebody is still in this greedy mode and approaches you, because there is not enough material resources for Maseratis for every one of us?
Yeah, good question. I call it, it's a chapter in the new book. It says the world is not a pizza. And what pizza means to me, because it's on my mind today. He promised to take me out for pizza at 12 Apostles later. And Jonathan. Johan. So we have this mindset that we feel like the world, the resources in the world are limited, and that there's 8 pieces, slices of pizza to a pizza, and all economic systems up to now have been based on how do you divide the pizza. The assumption is that there's only so many resources in the world. And then, American system would be, fight over the slices. You pull, I pull, and we fight over the slices. And maybe Pepsi-Cola gets more slices than Coca-Cola. That's the American capitalism. And then there's socialism, let's split, you get 4, I get 4, or there's different ideas. All economic systems boil down to there's a limited pizza, it has so many slices, and how do we divide it among us? Do we compete for those pieces? Or, in this system, it's a very, very interesting thing. If I give another person a slice, my slice of pizza, if I decide to give it to you, if I do the 4 steps, I want more pizza. So I have to find a person who likes pizza. This is a different system. And then I have to give them the pizza, number 3. And then when I go home, I have to have 2 things I enjoy. One is, Bernd's face was so happy when he got the pizza, and I'm supposed to play that movie in my mind again and again. And I'm supposed to fall asleep with that because your mind opens like a flower when you're asleep. That's a 4th consciousness or something. Then I'm also supposed to be happy that I'm using a new system to create pizza for myself. Because in this system, if the seed I created by giving Bernd one of my slices, if this system is correct, and if the seed opens 2 days from now, I get half a pizza from somebody else. You see? And 4 more slices are created in the world now. But what you have to appreciate about this system is those 4 new slices were not taken from anyone. They didn't come from anyone's pizza. They're coming out of my mind. There's an extra half a pizza in the world that wasn't there 2 days ago. You see? So instead of resources being limited, in this theory of economics, by sharing, the pizza becomes bigger. And it's a revolutionary idea. Resources will be found where resources weren't there before. And I always tell people the story, in 2000 years, my Lama said, okay, I had all these students and I was really enjoying being, semi-famous in New York. And he said, it's time for you to do a 3-year silent retreat. And I'm like, but I'm semi-famous, I can't stop now. And he said, I'm the Lama, do a 3-year retreat. And I did. I went into a single room and I spent 3 years in the room, you know. And when you go in, and people hand you food under the door, you don't see anybody for 3 years, 3 months, 3 days. This is the tradition. So, you know, you can't keep anything. So I gave away all my business suits, and I gave away my computer, you know. And then I stayed there for 3 years. I just meditated. And then when I got out, I asked, I think Elizabeth is here, no? Or she went to Holland. My secretary is here. She's been my secretary for 25 years. And when I came out, I said, I need a laptop, you know. Can you get me, you need to get me a laptop. And she got me a laptop. And I opened it up, I said, you know, this is weird. This thing is weird. And she said, what's wrong with it? And I said, you know, we don't have any more money? Did we lose all our money? She said, no, we have lots of money. I'm like, well, why'd you get me a laptop without a disk drive? You know, where's the floppy disk drive? And she says, well, they don't have floppy disk drives anymore. And I'm like, well, how am I going to send any emails to people? You have to copy it to the floppy disk and take it to the post office and mail it to Russia. Or how am I going to communicate with people? You know, you're just gypping me. You give me this cheap computer. She says, no, you just use the internet. And I'm like, what's the internet? She says, you type a message and you push a button and it goes up to a satellite and it goes to Maria in Moscow, and that's it. You know, and I said, oh, sorry. I said, forget that. I can't afford that, you know. The long distance charges on that, you know, keep sending messages up satellites, you know. You're gonna make us bankrupt, you know. Give me a floppy disk drive. It's only like a couple bucks. You know, you don't get these long distance charges. She says, Geshe, this internet thing, it's free. You know? It's free. You can go to McDonald's, I'm sorry, and send a message and it's free. You know? And I said, well, I don't like this. I don't want to do that because probably it has to go through a lot of switching stations. It's going to take like 3 weeks to get there. You know? And she's like, no, you don't understand. It's free and it's instantaneous. It goes to the place the next day without a floppy disk drive. You know? And I'm like, wow. Now, in my world, and I know this sounds weird to you, but it's true. In my world, keeping silence meaningfully for 3 years created the internet for me. You see? Yeah. You see? I don't know where your internet's coming from, but that's how I planted my internet. But why I mention it is that there occur events in the history of the world when suddenly there are unexpected energy resources. And an example in the United States, this is going to get really weird. I'll give one more example. Okay. So, you know, I was asked to consult with some people who were involved with the decision whether to sell China an oil company or not. And it went to the Congress, you know, and the Congress was debating. I forget the name of the company, but it was, you know, they were debating whether they should approve the sale of a oil company to China. And I had an opportunity to speak to some people involved with it. And I taught them the 4 steps, you know. I said, I want more energy resources in my country, number 1. Number 2, I must identify a person who needs energy resources, like China. Number 3, I must give it to them. And when I perceive myself giving it to them, that plants a karmic seed in my mind. If I go home and be happy about it, when that seed opens, new unexpected sources of energy should suddenly show up in my country, much more than I gave to China, because it doubles every 24 hours. And you can call it a coincidence or not. They sold their oil company and they started fracking, which I'm against, but I think the United States is now the largest producer of oil in the world.
Yeah.
It didn't exist prior to the sale. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can say it's weird or maybe it's not true, but what I'm saying is that you can call it a new Tesla battery. If in this system, the universe has to move over when your seeds show up. You see what I mean? So if I am in some way responsible for sharing energy with another country, then the universe has to put new energy supplies in my country somehow. It may be a Tesla battery, it may be a better solar cell, it may be fracking, which I don't support, or wind, or somebody will discover something new. And it's those discoveries, like the internet, are not accidental. They must have a cause. They don't just happen. Nothing just happens. So we say there's a moral cause, an ethical cause for every event. And that's what physicists have to come to. It's really cool. Anyway. Yeah, so there will be enough clean energy for everyone if we keep sharing what we have. That's a good question, okay? Will that energy create pollution? And this is a deep thing. This is a really deep thing, okay? The definition in Tibet of what is moral and what is immoral is extremely interesting. If you take an action and it creates a desirable result for you, that's moral. And if you take an action and it creates an undesirable result for you, that's the definition of wrong or immoral. So if I share energy in a kind and compassionate way, with true concern for the Chinese people's welfare, then the energy I get back, which will be 10 times more, will be clean, super clean. No undesirable effects. You see, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. What about what?
What about fraction? What about...
Oh,
Fracking.
Yeah, that means I created a good karma by selling the oil company, and you want to know really? Somehow I hurt the people in the process. I hurt someone in the process, so that energy is not clean. The energy is dangerous. You see what I mean? So you can have we call Karnat Lende, Ashukla Krishna Yoginis Yoga Trivida Mitresham. Where's Earl? What is that? Yeah, what chapter? Yoga Sutra. Fourth chapter. Sometimes you get mixed good karma and bad karma. So like if I share I have an apple and you're hungry and I cut the apple in half but I throw it at you. I will get energy supplies but they will be dirty. Somehow they will hurt me. You see what I mean? It will be mixed results. So when you use those steps, it has to be with a feeling of love. Otherwise, you get a contaminated result, like fracking.
Can you do something about fracking now?
Yeah. That gets into another set of 4, which we don't really have much time to talk about. But you can remove old bad seeds. There's a system for removing an old bad seed. So in this theory, the fracking is like the husband who calls you stupid. Okay? So there's 2 frackings. There's an Atman fracking and there's an Anatman fracking. There's a fracking which is not your fault. It's the big oil companies who hate people. And there's the fracking which is your fault, and that's because you hurt somebody in the past. Okay? So that fracking, which is Anatman, it's the fault of the oil companies. I didn't do anything. It's like the husband who yelled at you and you believe you didn't do anything. You just opened the door and he called you stupid. then in this system, you must have called someone stupid last week. And that's why, then that's the second husband, is the one that you deserve. He's the husband you planted. He's the husband that's the result of something you did yourself. So if we want to stop fracking, I went to jail during Vietnam. I was put in prison, so I know about it. You can go, protest, and you can get arrested, and you can go to jail, prison. But you also have to understand that what you see is coming from you. Ultimately, you created fracking, and ultimately you have to clean it up by being more responsible with how you use your car. You see what I mean? You have to save the environment on an individual level in this system, and then fracking will be banned as it is in England. You see what I mean?
So, Geshe Michael, I think there is many good reasons to meet again.
Yeah.
To deepen all that quite interesting discussion. We could only scratch the surface, but I think we did.
Yeah.
I think I took away a lot. And as we said, this can and should be a beginning. Those people who are more curious about what we're saying, especially what you're saying, there is books, there is seminars you're giving, and I really hope that we also will keep in touch to see where our interconnections interfere and where we can support. And I promise you, if I ever cut apple into pieces, I will never throw it to you.